It was supposed to be a routine UN summit on artificial intelligence ethics. Nobody expected that when Pope Leo XIV stepped up to the podium, he would single out Elon Musk in front of world leaders and deliver one of the most profound moral challenges ever witnessed at the United Nations. The moment the Pope opened his mouth, the entire assembly fell silent. What happened next would send shockwaves through Silicon Valley, the Vatican, and every corner of the global tech industry. Before we dive into this incredible confrontation, drop a comment telling us where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe to never miss these historic moments that are reshaping our world. The UN General Assembly Hall buzzed with anticipation. It was day 2 of the Global Summit on AI ethics and human dignity, a gathering that brought together world leaders, tech moguls, and religious figures to address humanity's most pressing question. How do we control the very technology that might soon control us? Elon Musk sat in the front row of the special guests section, flanked by other tech titans. He'd arrived with his usual confidence, fresh off another successful SpaceX launch and riding high on his latest AI breakthroughs with XAI. His Neuralink presentations had dominated the previous day's sessions, showcasing brain-computer interfaces that promised to merge human consciousness with artificial intelligence. The billionaire entrepreneur had spent the morning dismissing concerns about AI safety as overblown hysteria from people who don't understand the technology. His message was clear: innovation shouldn't be shackled by fear. But in the VIP section, reserved for religious leaders, sat a man who would challenge everything Musk represented. Pope Leo XIV was not your typical pontiff. Before his calling to the priesthood, he had been Dr. Alessandro Toretti, a renowned bioethicist who held advanced degrees in both philosophy and computer science from MIT and the Sorbonne. Unlike his predecessors, Pope Leo understood technology not as an outsider looking in, but as someone who had helped write the ethical frameworks that governed medical AI in Europe. He had published groundbreaking papers on machine consciousness and human dignity. He spoke the language of algorithms and ethics with equal fluency. The Pope had requested to speak last, after all the tech leaders had presented their visions. His staff had been secretive about his remarks, releasing only a cryptic statement. His Holiness will address the soul of artificial intelligence. As he rose to approach the podium, something in his demeanor suggested this wouldn't be a standard papal blessing of technological progress. As he rose to approach the podium, something in his demeanor suggested this wouldn't be a standard papal blessing of technological progress. Pope Leo adjusted the microphone and surveyed the assembly with sharp, penetrating eyes. His voice, when he spoke, carried the authority of centuries of moral teaching, but also the precision of a scientist who understood exactly what he was discussing. Distinguished delegates, fellow servants of humanity, he began, his English accented but flawless, I have listened with great interest to the presentations of the past 2 days. I have heard promises of transcendence, of human enhancement, of a future where the boundaries between man and machine dissolve entirely. Musk shifted slightly in his seat, perhaps sensing where this was heading. But I have heard very little about the soul. The Pope paused, letting the word hang in the air. In a room full of scientists, engineers, and politicians, talk of souls seemed almost quaint. Almost. Mr. Musk, the Pope continued, his gaze finding the entrepreneur in the audience, yesterday you spoke eloquently about uploading human consciousness, about achieving digital immortality through your Neuralink technology. You suggested that death itself could become optional. Musk looked around, perhaps expecting this to be a gentle theological discussion. He was wrong. Tell me, Mr. Musk, Pope Leo's voice grew stronger. In your vision of digital consciousness, what happens to the human soul? When you upload a person's memories, their personality patterns, their neural pathways, do you believe you have captured their essence? Or have you simply created a very sophisticated copy while the original dies? The question hit the assembly like a thunderbolt. This wasn't the typical religious objection to technology they'd all heard before. This was something far more profound, far more unsettling. Musk, clearly caught off guard, gestured as if to respond, but the Pope wasn't finished. Because if consciousness is merely information processing, as your presentations suggest, then every time your Neuralink device syncs with a brain, every time it updates or backs up memories, are we creating new souls? Are we destroying old ones? Or are we operating under the dangerous illusion that consciousness and soul are the same thing? The tech billionaire's face began to redden. He wasn't used to being challenged on philosophical grounds, especially not by someone who clearly understood the technical aspects of his work. Musk finally stood up, his voice carrying across the assembly hall. Your Holiness, with all due respect, the concept of a soul is a religious construct. We're dealing with measurable reality here. Neurons, synapses, electrical patterns. Consciousness is an emergent property of complex information processing. We can map it, copy it, and yes, enhance it. The Pope nodded approvingly. Now we're getting to the heart of it. You're absolutely right. I cannot prove the existence of the soul in your laboratory, but can you prove its absence? The question hung in the air like a challenge. And more importantly, the Pope continued, are you willing to bet the future of human consciousness on your assumption that it doesn't exist? Because if you're wrong, Mr. Musk, if consciousness is more than computation, if humans possess something sacred that your technology cannot capture, then every person who trusts you with their mind risks losing the very thing that makes them who they are. What happened next shocked everyone in the assembly, including Musk himself. Pope Leo reached into his robes and pulled out a small device, sleek, metallic, unmistakably high-tech. I want to show you something, Mr. Musk. This is a prototype neural interface device developed by a team of Vatican scientists working with researchers at CERN and MIT. It can monitor brain activity, map neural patterns, even influence certain cognitive processes. Musk's eyes widened. The Vatican had been secretly developing competing technology. We've been working on this for 8 years, the Pope continued calmly. We could have announced it, commercialized it, competed with your Neuralink in the marketplace, but we didn't. Do you know why? The entire assembly was on the edge of their seats. This was completely unprecedented. Because our research confirmed something that your profit models cannot afford to acknowledge. Consciousness is not reducible to neural activity. We found measurable gaps, inexplicable elements, phenomena that suggest human awareness extends beyond the physical brain. Musk stepped forward, his scientific curiosity clearly piqued despite his discomfort. That's impossible. What kind of phenomena? Pope Leo smiled again, but this time it was the gentle smile of a teacher. The kind that appear when you approach the human mind. Not as a machine to be optimized, but as a mystery to be respected. Our devices detected patterns of neural activity that preceded conscious thought, suggesting consciousness itself influences the brain rather than simply emerging from it. We found prayer measurably changing neural plasticity in ways that pure meditation cannot. We discovered that acts of genuine self-sacrifice create brain states that no AI model can replicate or predict. The Pope held up the device, letting its implications sink in. We chose not to commercialize this technology because we realized that understanding consciousness and exploiting it are two very different things. We can enhance the brain, Mr. Musk, but we cannot improve the soul, and we shouldn't try. Musk stood speechless for what felt like an eternity. Around him, world leaders, journalists, and tech executives processed what they'd just heard. The Vatican had been conducting advanced neuroscience research and had reached conclusions that challenged the entire tech industry's approach to human consciousness. "So, I challenge you, Mr. Musk," Pope Leo said, his voice carrying the weight of moral authority, "to consider that your greatest innovation might not be uploading human consciousness, but learning to protect it, not enhancing the human mind, but preserving human dignity, not creating digital immortality, but ensuring that in our rush to transcend our humanity, we don't lose our souls in the process." The Pope paused, looking directly into Musk's eyes. The question isn't whether we can merge human consciousness with artificial intelligence, the question is whether we should. And that, my son, is not a question for engineers or entrepreneurs. It's a question for philosophers, ethicists, and yes, people of faith. Musk sat down slowly, the weight of the challenge clearly affecting him. The assembly remained silent, processing what they'd witnessed. Pope Leo returned to the podium for his closing words. "We stand at a crossroads, distinguished delegates. Down one path lies the promise of technological transcendence, the allure of digital immortality, the seductive possibility of becoming more than human. Down the other lies the harder path, the path of recognizing that we are already enough, that human consciousness in its current form is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be protected." The Pope gathered his notes, preparing to leave the podium. Choose wisely. The souls of future generations depend on the decisions we make today. As Pope Leo walked back to his seat, the assembly erupted, not in applause, but in animated discussion, heated debate, profound questioning. Musk remained seated, staring ahead, clearly processing the most serious intellectual challenge his worldview had ever faced. What followed in the coming weeks would reshape the entire conversation about AI ethics, human consciousness, and the role of technology in society. But that's a story for another day. If this confrontation between faith and technology, between human dignity and digital transcendence, moved you as much as it moved everyone in that UN Assembly Hall, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. These are the moments that define our future, and we're here to bring you every incredible second. Like this video, if you believe this conversation needs to be heard by more people, and drop a comment telling us what you think. Was Pope Leo right to challenge Musk's vision of human consciousness, or is technology our path to transcendence? And if you want to support more content like this that dives deep into the moments shaping our world, check out our Patreon link in the description. Your support helps us bring you these incredible stories that mainstream media won't touch. Remember, in a world of artificial intelligence, human wisdom has never been more important. Stay curious, stay questioning, and we'll see you in the next one.